What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another vlog. This week's vlog is a little different. As you see from the title, it's something I don't often do. Um, I'm kind of sort of maybe doing like a slight review, but I'm also talking about recent news that I don't often do. And like literally the news that I'm going to be talking about dropped the day I'm recording this, which is the 16th or the 18th of July. And that is a day before this comes out. And I was originally just planning on doing half this video, but they don't fully connect, but they kind of connect. And I need to get my feelings out about this. And this is probably one of the best ways for me to do it, is to just talk about this and say my problems, or talk about my problems, I guess, so to speak. Um, there's no script. I didn't do too much research or anything else. I've only seen a few things here and there. I'm not gonna have a lot of like slideshow for the first thing. I'm just gonna show my screen. Really is all I'm gonna do with that. But I do want to talk about it. And then the other one, I just have a lot of feelings about the other one that I want to talk about as well. And this is probably one of the better ways for me to get these things off my chest. Is really what it is. If you see me looking this way, it's because that is where OBS is over here. So I keep checking because it's a screen and I can't help but look at screens. But right in front of me is the main screen that we're going to be working off of, we're going to be using. I'm hoping to keep this under like 20 minutes, but you know, who knows? Who knows? And for those of you who do or don't know, I used to be on a podcast called Brose. It became a very political podcast. We had a lot of political talks and things like that on the show, and I haven't really had that release in a while. And I try to keep my political views and political discussions off of my main channels. However, I'm starting to open up and be a bit more open about specifically the current political climate of my home, the United States. Um, and I really feel like this current thing is very politically motivated, and something that is just really near and dear to me. I may not be someone who watches it all the time, every day, but I start my morning every day with it, and the fact that this is ending in a way that it is ending is like really, it's sus. It's very sus. What I'm talking about though is, I opened the wrong one. Give me 1 second. What I'm talking about though is Colbert's ending. Specifically the late show, not Colbert. Colbert will definitely get a new show, definitely be brought somewhere. And I played with the idea and I talked with other people who are fans of Colbert, and I was like, what about if he gets the Colbert Report back over on Comedy Central? But Comedy Central also owns Peacock, or not Peacock, Paramount. And Paramount is the one who's making decisions to cancel The Late Show, because Colbert has been very vocal about obviously his disdain of the current political climate. We all have been. It's shit, and fuck Trump. If you're here and you get mad at me for saying that, you can leave. It's that simple. Um, and because of the recent fine due to the 60 Minutes episode that like kind of like it wasn't untruthful, but they kind of caved with that instead of continuing to fight it because of the recent like $60 million fine or something. I don't remember how much it was. Um, they financially can't keep the Late Show from going anymore. Instead of dropping 60 Minutes, which was the show that had the fine, they're dropping Colbert, who has been openly against the political climate. This is bribery. This is they're trying to sell, Paramount is trying to sell CBS, um and they're trying to be more politically friendly, I guess. I don't know. It is very suspicious. Now the Late Show has until May of next year, because that's probably when their contract ends. So we still have about 10 months or so until the show actually ends. But it's still, it to me, this is bad. This is very bad because this is politically motivated from what it seems. This is politically driven. This is that CBS and Paramount are bending the knee to the current administration. Um, and it's shit. It's really shit. Um, my my brother has already canceled his Peacock subscription, or not Peacock, Paramount subscription. I'm not gonna have Paramount anymore. Not gonna watch Paramount shit. I'm done. I'm done with it. Anything Paramount, like it really just like it's not a boycott per se. And look, there's gonna be stuff that comes out Paramount, and it's not a full on boycott. But the only reason I would care about anything Paramount was for the Late Show, was for stuff like this. It was for them to be not adhering to listening to the Cheeto Man, and for them to actually like show the news and to be a media company. And there's a reason I'm connecting this and the other thing I'm talking about, which is a new Superman movie, together into one simple video. And it's because I feel very passionately that media needs to start going against the grain when it comes to politics. They need to stop being afraid of showing who they are. Superman did that very well, and we'll get into that in a little bit. And CBS is showing that right now by canceling Colbert. Now, why is this such a big deal for me? Well, I have memories of watching The Late Show. Specifically, it was David Letterman, because David Letterman was the host of The Late Show when my grandfather passed. But I would watch The Late Show with my grandfather. And I remember watching the very last episode after my grandfather had passed, and they had the Foo Fighters on. They played Monkey Wrench. It brought a lot of emotions into me, and it was great. And to see someone as good as Colbert take over the spot, and to start every morning watching his monologue while I'm getting ready for work, it's just he is a refreshing take on politics. He's a refreshing take on the current climate, and he is funny. His writers are hilarious. His everything he does is great, and he's very witty, and he's very smart, and he's a fellow nerd, of course. And it's just like I would support him to the ends of the earth if like I love this guy. I think he's a great guy. I think it's a great show, and it is just for what's the Late Show been on? Like 50, 60 years? I don't really know. Let me look that up real quick. All right, I was off. I was off by a bit. 33 years. But still, like that was a staple. Before Letterman, who had it before Letterman? No, it was Letterman first. Letterman took over another late night show. I don't remember what it was, from another very well-known TV host. And then Letterman was running the Late Show on CBS until Colbert took it over. It's been going for 33 years. It is a late night staple. It is a TV station staple. And like to me, there's no reason not to have a show like this. Not to have a late night talk show that airs at 10:30, 11, 12 o'clock at night, whatever. Because it really is low budget. It's just an interview show at his peak. Like it's low budget. There's no, and you sell tickets for people to go. I actually don't think they sell tickets. Maybe you just go. You might have to buy tickets, but it's cheap to produce. And Colbert himself is consistently nominated every year. And this is just like I said, this is very suspicious. This is very like it seems bribery. It seems very like censorship. And I like I was mentioning like potential of maybe the Colbert Report coming back on Comedy Central, but probably not. If we see Daily Show disappear, this is definitely some form of political bribery and censorship here. And I have a feeling in the next 2 to 3 years we're going to see a lot more independent media coming out here, especially with some of these bigger names, just because they're being shut down because big media companies are afraid to say what they should say. And these companies need to say what they should say. Now, then I'm done with that. And if you have any comments on that, if you want to talk about it, get in the comments down below. Please, we'll discuss. Outside of that, the other thing I want to talk about is Superman. Alright, for this, I'm just going to be having the Superman trailers playing alongside. This way, it's just something for you guys to, like, watch while I'm yapping. But I went and saw Superman last week, and immediately after watching it, I was like, I want to talk about this as much as possible because I feel very passionately about a lot of the topics that this pushed. First of all, to get onto the political aspect, the fact that conservative media was hating on this for being an immigrant story because it's fucking Superman. He's a fucking alien. Of course, it's an immigrant story. The fact that they're complaining about it being woke because it's an immigrant story. The fact that they're hating on it because honestly, it's again being woke because it's anti-war. Like it really just shows that anyone conservative who's mad at this for being woke doesn't know Superman. One of my favorite memes I've seen from this movie is that the people who are mad at this movie are realizing now that they are probably the villain. And it's true. It's totally true. Like people just don't get it. Conservatives see Superman as truth, justice, and the American way, but it's not their American way. He still stands for that shit. He still stands for the American way, but America has lost their way, is what it is. Entirely lost their way. For the movie itself, obviously it's not perfect. I don't think there's any perfect media out there, no 10 out of 10. But things can come close, and this does come relatively close. I'd give it like an 8 to 9, maybe an 8.5. I would say that this is a very strong contender for a near perfect movie. It has some issues. There are some graphical issues. There are some CG issues that like you could tell are like kind of uncanny valley esque. Um, but outside of that, the story is very good. The script could use a little bit of tweaking and whatnot, but it was just overall in general an incredibly fun movie with a great story that I just can't stress enough how much I want people to see this and we need people to go and enjoy this. To be 100% honest, this movie he James Gunn has done to the DCU what I've been hoping to see in a DCU series for a long time. He is building this to be like a better universe. One of my favorite things about this is that it's not an origin story. And that's something I see a lot of people complaining about. This movie opens up with a 300 like a 3330 3330 three like 3,000 years ago metahumans became a thing. 300 years ago something happened, I don't remember what. 3 years ago or 30 years ago a little boy from Krypton landed in Kansas. 3 years ago he came out as Superman. 3 months ago he stopped a war. And 3 hours ago he lost his first fight, which is what you're seeing here. This is the very beginning of the movie. That fight right there, the very beginning of the movie. Like literally, that's like the first scene after that panel breakdown of the 3,000 to 3. That's literally the first thing you're seeing. And it was, to me, it's refreshing because no one needs an origin story anymore. We have to stop with origin stories. I think that's something Marvel has to do, which they're kind of picking up on, and something that DC has to do is don't do origin stories anymore. Just put them in their universes. We all know that superheroes exist in these worlds. Let's just say that they've been around for forever so that this way if a hero shows up that we don't know about, well, they've been there, they just haven't been on screen. Because one problem we're going to get with, say for instance, uh the MCU is with the X-Men. Well, where have the X-Men been? Well, it turns out they're an alternate universe and the universes are going to merge and that's where the X-Men have been. That's what we're going to see with Fantastic Four in a few weeks. Whereas in this, it's like, oh, heroes have been around for millennia. So, like, the reason you haven't seen them is just because we haven't made a movie about them. And we're not going to do an origin story to give them an origin. They're just going to have had been there. And I want to see that with Batman. I want to see that with Wonder Woman. I want to see that with Aquaman. I want to see that with a different Green Lantern, like maybe John Stewart. I believe, yeah, that's John Stewart, or how, I don't remember the other Green Lantern. But also their choice of characters, mostly unknown characters like Mr. Terrific Hawk Girl. We had Metamorpho in this movie. It was great. It was fantastic. They also had a ton of Easter eggs across the DCU, extended DCU, people taking back their roles from before. And finally, like, it was a new, different, interesting take on Superman in general. Like, we know the story that he's sent to Earth, but why he was sent to Earth, it was different than normal, it seems. In past, I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to try not to spoil it too much. Um, but like, my favorite tagline and story that's coming out of this film is punk rock kindness is the new punk rock. And it's, look, I've been a punk rock kid since I was 15 years old. I'm 36 now. Like, I've loved punk rock. I've always listened to punk rock, and it's honestly true. I've never been to a metal show, a punk show, or any sort of rock show in general where there were dicks. There's stories of people being at rock shows and punk shows and in the mosh pits and just doing what, being the nicest, sweetest people in the world. Somebody, one person might have been a dick, but everyone else stopped them. And it's just great. It's great. His whole movie in general revolves around a reference of basically you can connect it between the political climate and the war of Russia and Ukraine. Um, James Gunn has come out and said that he started writing it before the war started. So the resemblances are just happenstance, basically. But it still sticks with the whole idea of a better powered military going against a smaller powered military. And Superman stops that fight, and Lex Luthor was upset about that and wants to stop Superman just because he's different. And the whole movie is just about Superman not really finding acceptance, but like finding understanding that yes, what he does may make a difference, but also potentially has consequences. And the world having to understand, to be honest, and I might be taking this like beyond what it was, the world having to understand that Superman does not belong to the US. Superman does not belong to the Americas. Superman is Superman. He is a hero. He saves the world. So he doesn't answer to the US government. He shouldn't have to. There was a sequence where he gets arrested. He shouldn't, and he's done this in multiple movies. He gets arrested and he lets them arrest him. That's how it should be. When people think he did wrong, he gives himself in. That's how it should be. That's how Superman is. Um Honorable mention, like, Crypto's fantastic. All the characters were amazing. Nicholas Hoult as Luthor was honestly one of the best Luthors in my opinion. Outside of probably John Cryer. Honestly, I think John Cryer was an amazing Luthor in the DC in the CW verse, the Arrowverse. But he, yeah, Nicholas Hoult, amazing, amazing, um, amazing Lex Luthor. There was a line near the end of the movie that almost brought me to tears. I'm gonna let me get it real quick. So what it is, I'm gonna read it word for word because it's just a fantastic line and it's a line that the entire country and the entire world needs to listen to, and it hereby, I'm as human as anyone. I love, I get scared, I wake up every morning, and despite not knowing what to do, I put one foot in front of the other and try to make the best choices I can. I screw up all the time, that's being human, and that's my greatest strength. Now, it's a line at the end of the movie, so spoilers, sorry guys, but it's a great line, and David Cornsweet delivers it perfectly. Um, this is what the movie is about. This is Superman finding a home outside of his home and being accepted by this home. This is an immigrant story. This is what we as Americans should be accepting, that immigrants are going to come to this country and are going to need our help and are going to help us. And this is, as politically heavy as this may be, it is very needed in this country anymore and in modern media. And I was so excited about this because Gunn was not afraid to go there. He was not afraid to put in these heavy emphasis. And more media needs to do this. And I love this movie. I love everything about it. Like I said, it's not perfect. There's very little perfect media out there. But I loved it. And it was the first movie in a long time that made me want to see it again. Um Recently I had seen the Thunderbolts and I loved the Thunderbolts. That movie also made me cry at the end. Um but I didn't feel as passionately about it as I did with this. And just with the whole Colbert being canceled because of the stuff he said against Trump, and because of this being so like highly political motivated in a sense, it was just perfect to combine them together because I feel very strongly on them both. And this movie was just everyone's got to go see it. It's so fun, it's so good, and it's so entertaining. It's just you gotta go see it. But that's gonna be it, guys. Again, it was actually longer than I meant for it to be. I spent a little bit longer on the Colbert stuff than I was expecting. It's just occasionally what I'm gonna do. Depending on how Fantastic Four is, maybe I'll record a vlog about my review of Fantastic Four. Maybe I won't. It'll be a week later at minimum. But maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll start doing this for all movies I go see, spending this time to talk about the movie and be a little bit more spoilery about it. But yeah, guys, leave comments down below. Let me know what you think about the Colbert cancellation. Let me know what you think about the Superman movie. Let me know what you think about other media in general and how you feel about me putting politics into my videos. Um, like I said, I don't have that political outlet anymore of Brose. So like it's starting to seep into some of my other stuff. You'll see some political references or political commentary in some 7 Days to Die videos. And it's just starting to open up about it because the political climate is not great. And like kind of the best I can do right now is just open up about it on my content and try to get more people in here. So yeah, if you like what you saw, please hit the like button so the algorithm knows that people like you like me too. Subscribe to the channel so you get updates and notifications when I go live and post new videos. And leave comments down below. Hints, tips, tricks. I respond to all comments back. Well, there's no hints, tips, or tricks. It's just leave comments down below about what I talked about. Because this is a vlog. It's just what I normally say, and it was on autopilot. Be sure to check out my other videos, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. And check out my stream, both on Twitch and YouTube, Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Thank you guys. Be careful. Be safe. Don't do anything I would do. Always hug your loved ones. And of course, like always, be sure to smash socks. See you all.